What is going on, fellow warriors of light? Basil back with you today with another Final Fantasy XIV video. Today I'm going to be going over a raw Gil farm utilizing your blue mage. I'm not using the best abilities and spells that you can learn, so we're going to consider this more of like a budget build to do what higher end, more advanced players are doing for the same thing. They just shave off a couple seconds per run. This isn't the best you can make in an hour for Gil wise, but you know, if you have nothing else to do and you just want to kill some time and want to make some extra Gil doing it, this is a killer way to make 5,000 Gil every minute and a half or so. But before we actually get into like the build and the spells that you're going to be using, remember to like and subscribe if you're liking our content. Also remember that we are doing a giveaway of Diablo 4 or a game of your choice at 1,000 subscribers. You can check the Chig out on twitch.tv/thechig. So with all that out of the way, let's get into what you'll actually be doing, starting with the spells you're going to need for this method. The first spell we need is Mighty Guard. Conveniently, that is picked up really close to where my character is. It requires you to learn 10 blue mage spells. There are guides galore on how to get that. So I'm going to swing over here and show you guys where you get it. You go to this lovely gentleman right here and acquire totems. And you're going to be looking for the Wallaki Mighty Guard totem. Once you get it from him, use it from your inventory. And voila, you have Mighty Guard. So with Mighty Guard, it reduces damage that you take by 40%, but also reduces the damage you deal by 40%. However, one of our spells that we're going to look into later gets rid of that damage that you deal, negative side of it. The second spell we're going to want to get is Mind Blast from 10 Tara Deepcroft. This spell's learned from the last boss. Simply allow him to cast Mind Blast and then dispatch of him. Pretty sure this one's a guaranteed learn, even if you're doing it unsynced or whatever, because this spell is actually required in the Blue Mage questline. I believe it's level 20 quest. So yeah, pretty sure it's automatic learn. Alright, the next ability we're going to be looking for is Basic Instinct. So this ability negates that damage reduction from Mighty Guard, increases your run speed. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind with this particular ability is it can only be used while in dungeons and trials when you're solo. In order to get this ability, you simply just go to Upper Lenosha at coordinates 921, get into combat with a Master Curl. The very first thing they cast is Basic Instincts, so let the cast go off and then do away with the mob. After you do that, hopefully you learn it. If not, go pull another one. It may take you a few tries. I think it took me about 5. Alright, after we get Basic Instinct, we're going to need to get Ram's Voice. This spell does an AoE around your character that does a little bit of damage, but the most important part is it freezes all enemies that you hit. This comes from a Realm Reborn dungeon called Cutter's Cry. You gotta go to the last boss, wait until he casts the ability. It may take him a couple minutes. I think you have to do like a certain percentage of his health before he actually casts it. After he does it, go ahead and dispatch of him. If you're doing this unsynced, just remember that the blue mage has a low chance to learn the ability, so it may take you a few tries. Now if you have a group and are able to do it synced, you'll get it first try, and yeah. Next ability we're going to want to get is Ultravibration. This one goes hand in hand with that last ability, Ram's Voice. This spell automatically one-hits any enemies around you that are either frozen or petrified. Now keep in mind this doesn't work with any mobs that are a higher level than you. They have to be your level or lower. So you're not going to be able to cheese level 90 mobs by Ram's voicing them and then ultra vibrating them. In order to get this, you're going to want to fly over to the peaks at 1326 and find the enemies called Kangamato. After you see them cast the ability, feel free to finish them off. Hopefully you get it learned pretty quick. Alright, and now for our last non-primal spell. It's called Aetheric Mimicry. This one requires you to go into Pharos Sirius on hard. This is learned from the ads that the first boss spawns. After they spawn, let them cast a few things. When you notice that you get hit with a spell called Aetheric Mimicry, go ahead and mow them down. Now, this spell isn't learned from the actual boss, it's learned from the ad, so you can actually learn this ability mid-fight. So if you kill one of the ads and you don't learn it, just let him spawn more ads and then destroy them until eventually it'll pop up. Shouldn't take you too long. Alright, and after that we have 2 primal spells that we're going to need to learn. These are super easy to solo, but they may take you a little bit of time because you're going to probably run these unsynced, therefore decreasing your chances of actually learning it significantly. The first one we're going to be learning is Eruption. We learned this from Ifrit, or Ifrit, however you want to pronounce that. You're going to go into the Bowl of Embers, knock down about 50% of his health, I believe, and he does a phase transition, and one of the abilities in the second phase is Eruption. After you see him cast it, mow him down, rinse and repeat until you finally get the spell. The last primal ability we're going to be getting is Shock Strike. This is actually learned from the Striking Tree by killing Remu. And what you want to do is just let him keep casting until you get hit with a Shock Strike. After you do that, go ahead and mow him down. And it's just like with Eruption. Should be super easy to do, just take a little bit. Now with Remu, if you're doing it at a little bit lower level, it may take you a little bit longer because he does cast a Terrify, which kind of stuns you in place for a little bit. But after you do that, you should have both your primal spells. And I forgot to mention one more ability that you're going to need for doing this. It's not super necessary. Technically, you can skip it, but you already have one by default anyway. It's just a single target ability that does about 200 potency damage. For me, I'm using Goblin Strike because I like the sound effect it makes when I punch an enemy. But, you know, Water Cannon that you get from the very first spell, that works just fine. Alright, now that we know what all spells we have to have, it is time to actually get into what we're doing. So what we're going to be doing is running the Vault from Heavensward, but we are going to be running it unrestricted party and level synced, because if you don't do it level synced, the mobs do not drop as much gil. So before we actually hop into the dungeon, we need to actually use Aetheric Mimicry. We want to get that on a DPS. So we're going to go ahead and cast. Luckily for me, I got DPS first try. So now we hop in. Alright, now that we're in, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have Mighty Guard on. And then we're going to go ahead and cast a Basic Instinct. So first thing we're going to do is run up to this first group of mobs, look for that Vault Ostiary. They're always going to be right here. We're going to walk up to about the door frame here, freeze them all, use our primal abilities, followed by some Mind Blasts. If anything is left over, like this Vault Ostiary is, single target it down. Then you're going to sprint on this area here just to get a couple seconds shaved off. Then we're going to walk up to this group. We're going to swift cast a Ram's Voice. And then we're going to Ultravibration to kill this group off quick. Only reason to use Ultravibration on this particular group of mobs is because a couple of these like to live a little bit longer. And anything to shave a couple seconds. So, we're going to swing up here. We're going to look for our Vault Deacon. We're going to pretty much stand right on him. Go ahead and start casting a Ram's Voice. And just start AoEing them down with our Eruptions and Mind Blasts. Same thing as before. If anything's left over, single target it down. And we are on our last group of mobs here. We're going to target the Ostiary like we did on the first group, and this pool is going to be basically just like the very first pool because everything's off cooldown. So you're going to shock strike and use your primal abilities and everything here. And that's all there is to it. These runs usually take me about 1.5 minutes. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Super easy, very little risk involved, and yeah, have fun with it. Okay, with that you can see that this is a super easy and chill Gil farm. You don't have any market board to deal with, no other people you got to compete with prices on. Only variances in Gil that you're going to make is mobs dropping a little bit more or a little bit less, and also how fast you can clear this. I would say I make about 5,700 Gil-ish per run, and if a run takes 2 minutes, that sets you at 171,000 Gil per hour. My runs usually take a little bit less than 2 minutes, so if you can manage runs like mine, or a little bit faster than mine, you can net even more Gil per hour. Now the biggest drawback to this particular Gil farm is that Square Enix has set a limit of 100 dungeons that you can run per day. This is to prevent botting and all that good stuff. So if you manage to get 2-minute runs at 3 hours of running, that sets you at a potential about 513 plus raw Gil per day. Alright, and with that is a super simple way to make some extra Gil with your blue mage. I hope this information helped you in some way, shape, or form. Now do keep in mind there are blue spells that you can learn that would make this a little bit faster. There are guides out there that will walk you through how to get those. But like I said, I wanted to make this to be more of a budget ability thing so that more people have access to it than having to go through all the harder to obtain spells. Alright, and ladies and gentlemen, with that, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. And until next time, have a fantastic day.